Hi everybody, welcome to the Sun Racing preview of Saturday that includes the Dewhurst, the Cesarovic and a very, very good car from Chepstow, all broadcast on ITV. And I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by Chad Yeomans of Betway and top tipster Templegate, aka Steve Mullin of The Sun, to talk through the cards this weekend. It's a cracking few days of racing, particularly Friday and Saturday, but most prominently on Saturday, we have a very fine card from Newmarket. And we're going to kick off with the Zetland Stakes Group 3, which is a kind of pointer for horses who are going to be big contenders for the big races next year. And heading the market is Kyprios, a very rare runner in the Moyglare stud colours for Aidan O'Brien and for Ryan Moore. Won nicely on debut last time out. Fabulous, who goes to Rafe Beckett, was quite an impressive winner in Nursery Company last time out at Nottingham. Then Lone Eagle as well for Martin Mead. Recovery run, a few last time out winners in here. Mare Green, Rosabad, who won on debut for Mark Johnson. It's quite a deep little race for a Group 3 at this stage of the year, I would say. Steve, we'll come to you first. What takes your eye on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's worth saying that often racing overhypes itself with the titles like Future Champions Day and all the rest of it, but this is a fantastic card, isn't it? I mean, the races have really stood up given the season's been crackers. I mean, we've got as good as I can remember card on. Yeah, Kyprios really does take the eye, not just because those colours and Aidan O'Brien's name, but very, very green when winning at Galway last time. And I think stepping up to this distance, because that was over an extended mile, I think will really suit the horse. And obviously Aidan O'Brien has a fantastic record in this, hasn't he? I think he's looking for 3 out of the 4 past 4 years. I mean, it won't be easy. Obviously, you've got the likes of Fabulous in there, who had plenty in hand at Nottingham and is beautifully bred. And I like the way Lone Eagle just got on with it at Doncaster last time. This is a big step up in grade, but that was a fair time. And, you know, you've even got the Bindi down there as well, who's beautifully bred. Hasn't won yet, but has a lot more to come. But I think this Kyprios could be more than decent.
Lovely stuff. Kyprios for Steve. Chad, are you in agreement, or would you like something else?
Yeah, I do. I think it's the unknown quantity of the race. Winner that looks smart at Galway, entered in the Group 1 Burton Futurity and in the Derby next year, and that might tell you something. As you mentioned earlier, Bully, the Moyglare connection is quite rare, so that whether there's something in that. But I've seen once racehorses go to Newmarket and be spooked and not give their all coming down the dip. And I just think at the prices, maybe it's worth an each way saver on Betway Ambassador Andrew Balding's recovery run. I mean, he's a dream for an owner, isn't he? He's ran 5 times and finished second, first. He was a good winner of a competitive nursery at Ayr last time. Forgot where I was in, and stayed on through the line. And I think he'll appreciate the extra 2 furlongs. And not just, I don't think Recovery Run will be the best horse in the race. I don't think he'll run in a derby or anything like that. But I just think for where they are, he'll have that battle-hardened experience. And if they do get into a battle coming down the hill, you know he'll go well. And I was on a call with Sheen Murphy last night, and he said he goes to post with a looping rein. He pricks his ears when he goes in the starting stalls, and he's just a nice horse, and you just know he's going to give his all. And I think that might be what you need.
Certainly, a battle-hardened 2-year-old at Newmarket over a mile and a quarter, I would say, is definitely what you need. I'm going to go with Fabulous, actually. I was very impressed with that win at last time at Nottingham, because he had to give weight to all his rivals and never looked really in any danger for Rafe Beckett. He was really well backed that day, so it was clearly highly regarded. And after 3 starts, he's won 2 of them, keeps improving, and I think will improve again for this extra distance. So Fabulous for me to see off Kyprios and Recovery Run. Right, moving on to the 220, which is the Autumn Stakes. Always a very intriguing contest, again, for future horses going on to next year. This time over a mile. And we've got one ruler who's done some pretty nice races at Sandown, first 2 starts, then came 3rd in listed company at Doncaster last time. Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien are responsible for Van Gogh. Then Maximal de Harby, I should say. Latest Generation, and the interesting and unexposed and thought to be exciting Magellan, who would probably be my pick in this race, just because I know that John Gosling is a big fan of this horse. And I don't think we've yet seen the best of him, though he will need to improve. Chad, come to you first. What do you fancy in this?
Well, Godolphin have won this Emirates-sponsored race for the last 4 years. Guyaf, Military March, Best Solution, and Persian King. And you'd be very, you'd be hard to do. I don't know what the words I'm looking to try and say actually, but you'd be hard pressed to try and find why they wouldn't win the race with either One Ruler or De Harvey. One Ruler ran in the Flying Scotsman last time out at Doncaster. I'm not saying he was given a bad ride, but he was given a bit of a bad ride by Will Buick. And you find these 2-year-olds by most of Godolphin horses actually are ridden quite prominently. This horse was held up. He got racing a little bit too soon, and then the horse New Mandate that come to win and the eventual second went past him coming into the final furlong, and it looked like he was set to finish 5th. He ended up staying on and finishing 3rd. He got racing again, and I just think he could be quite smart, this one roller. Certainly, De Harby's been plotted for the race. Campaigned for the race. Winner on debut, well backed, and was well backed when he finished 2nd behind Jumbie at Newbury, and has been campaigned for this race since. But if any of the first 5 or 6 in this was in the Dewhurst, they wouldn't look out of place. It's a really, really hot race. But I'm just going to side with both of the Godolphin horses, One Ruler and De Harby.
That's a really good point, actually, Chad. Yeah, you're absolutely right about the strength and depth of the two-year-old races at the end of this season. You're absolutely right. Maximal, I know, was very highly tagged by Sir Marcus Stout earlier in the season, and Van Gogh has done nothing wrong. And as you say, One Ruler looks very exciting as well. Steve, where's your money going in this?
Yeah, I mean, this is very, very good for a Group 3, isn't it? I mean, I must admit, this and the Dewhurst I found as hard to decipher as the Cesarovich, really, just because there's so many of them that's hard to pick massive faults in most of these. I mean, like you say, Gayeth won this for Charlie Appleby a couple of years ago, and his 2, it's very hard to tell them apart. I mean, on what we've seen so far, I'd say One Ruler's probably got the edge over Dar Harby, but 3.1 million smackers as a yearling. If you look at its breeding, it's mouth-watering, and it's a bit surprised it didn't win at Newbury last time, really. But obviously, like you say, being campaigned for this, you've even got the likes of Akmam, was very impressive at Ascot last time. And I've just sided with Van Gogh, but literally only just because I think he seems to be getting better with racing. He's got a bit of an edge and of experience over some of the others, and provided it doesn't get really soft, which I don't think the forecast is too bad. I think there's more improvement to come. Well, there obviously is, but I think there's enough maybe just to get the edge over the 2 Godolphin ones. But I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if 6 or 7, these won, including Magellan, who's I think about 9 to 1. But I'll just go with Van Gogh. But as I say, only just.
Van Gogh, the artist, Steve Mullin there. I'm going to go with Magellan, as I said earlier, just hoping he's going to find a bit more. And I thought that run last time out was definitely not devoid of promise, so hopefully he can improve again. Now, let's go on to the 255, which is the Darley Dewhurst Stakes. And I have to say, chaps, I do think this is one of the races of the season. I mean, almost every top-class 2-year-old you can think of over this distance is running in this race, and it really is an absolute class act of a contest. We've got Chindit at the top of the market, who won the Champagne last time out in good style at Donny. Then you've got Thunder Moon, already a Group 1 winner, having just had 2 starts. I mean, that is some achievement, really. I mean, a great training performance from James O'Brien. Then Alcu Mate, who won so impressively at Newbury last time out. That was a really good performance. He actually beat 5,000 to 1 that day in the Mill Reef, who also lines up here. I'm amazed that Etonian is such a big price further down for Richard Hannon. He's done nothing wrong, won 2 out of 2, and won Solario last time out in great style. And you've got Al Bashir, Cadillac for Jesse Harrington, Wembley for Aidan O'Brien, St Mark's Basilica as well. Then Tactical, astonishingly, for Betway Ambassador Andrew Balding at 33 to 1. Devil Walla, who in another year would probably be further up than this, is 40 to 1 for Rafe Becker. That's got some good form too. I mean, it is so strong, this race, isn't it? And Steve, who do you fancy? I mean, it's almost impossible to pick apart, isn't it?
It is. It's very difficult. I mean, I really, really would love to see Alchemate win this. I don't necessarily think he will. If over 6 furlongs, quite possibly would. I'm slightly concerned about stepping up to 7. I think the way he won at Newbury, and obviously they've had to supplement him, haven't they? Which is obviously a good point. So I'm not sure 30 grand will make much of a dent in Sheikh Hamdan's bank balance. I'd love to see Marcus Tregonin. Well, yeah. I'd love to see Marcus Tregonin have another, proper Group 1 horse. I mean, people of my generation. I mean, he was up there with John Gosden and things when I first started getting into racing, and it's great to see him coming back now because he's a superb trainer and he just needs the ammo and he's starting to get it. Having said all that, though, I was hugely impressed by Chindit last time at Doncaster. Okay, the ground was very different. It was on the quick side, but I just loved the way he gutted it out. He just looked like there was a lot more to come, and it was a good time figure as well. And I think he's got more in him. But you look at the likes of St Mark's Basilica, who was meant to run last week before the contaminated feeds scandal, or whatever you want to call it. I think he's open to improvement as well. And he's 14 to 1, and you wouldn't be remotely surprised if he won. I'll leave some for Chad to talk about because, you could spend an hour on this race and you'd love to own any of them, but I'll just go for Chindit, I think.
Lovely stuff. Chindit there for Steve. So come on then, Chad, what's your opinion on the race?
I mean, when we see these racing, when we talk about them from a few months out, weeks out, and certainly when we looked at the entries on, or the declaration, sorry, the entries on Monday, you just kind of hope they all turn up. But you almost feel that always, you know, that 2 or 3 won't turn up, or something else will happen, and you'll cut down to 6 on a race. This year, they've all turned up. They've all turned up, and they've turned up in the masses. And what a race it is! It's absolutely sublime. I mean, you can't choose. You really can't choose. I mean, I do think that 5,000 to 1, if he handles the softer ground, will reverse the mill reform. I think he'll appreciate 7 furlongs more than Alcumate will. I mean, Cadillac was really impressive at Leopardstown in the Champion Juvenile. Thunder Moon was explosive in the final furlong in the National Stakes. I just really don't know. I really, really, really don't know how to call a winner of this race. I just think maybe Cadillac's success and experience last time might make him a nice, attractive proposition at 11 to 1. But it's just too tough. It's a race to savour. Sit, watch, enjoy. There's plenty of other betting opportunities at the weekend, including Cesarewitch. But this is just a race and a half to watch. Absolutely amazing.
It is. I completely agree with that. I mean, if I had to nominate one, I'd go with Alcumate. I mean, I do think he was. I love the way he travelled into that race last time out. I was really impressed by that. And it'd be great to see Marcus Trelawney with another really good horse after, of course, the sad retirement of Mahatha. But as you say, what a top-class contest. I mean, I still can't believe Etonian's the price he is, and I can't really believe the Cadillac's the price he is as well. I mean, they shouldn't be that big a price, but then it shows you how strong the race is. So, yeah, really looking forward to that one. And I'm also really looking forward to the Cesarewitch, which, of course, is the headline act on the day. We've got, how many runners this year? 34 with a reserve to make it 35. I mean, a really competitive race, as it always is. 8 to 1 the field, headed, of course, by Betway ambassador Andrew Balding's Coltrane, who's won his last 3 starts and goes for a four-time. That would be some performance if he divides the handicapper in a race like this once again. But he's an improving 3-year-old. Great White Shark goes for Willie Mullins. Probably going to be extremely well handicapped. They usually are when tackling this kind of contest. Leon Cavallo, an interesting horse there for David Pipe. Had a little brief spell over hurdles earlier on in his career for John Ferguson. Then not so sleepy Arthurian Fable, Just Hubert, Mondan, Smart Champion, All Right Sunshine, Dalton Highway, Future Investment, Likely Squeeze, blah, 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 blah. Goes on and on. The list goes on and on. Steve, who is the horse in this? I would like a couple from you, please, if you will.
I'll give you a 33 and probably still not get the winner. Okay, I'll give you the selection first. Let's get it out of the way. Mondain, I just thought I was pretty impressed by that last time. It wasn't an awfully big field, I understand, but it was quite impressive. You like the ground. It's a total and complete stayer. We'll be up with the pace. Reasonable draw. I think there's more to come from that one. I don't think you can rule out Great White Shark having won at Galway over hurdles. And if anyone has watched the Connaught Hotel Premier Handicap at the Galway Festival, I mean, they really should play the William Tell Overture while that race is on, because it's absolutely crackers. 20 odd of them going around Galway, which probably should have a maximum, 12 or something. But he was only beaten 2 lengths in that, so he'll be as solid as anything. And he's here off 86, or she's here, sorry, off 86. So William Mullins, he's the king of things like this. Frankie Dettori's on a 40 to 1 shot. When's the last time you saw that? Indianapolis, not completely out of it. Was just getting going over the end of 1 mile and 6 last time, and off the same mark could sneak into the frame. And also, you've got one from Jessica Harrington in there, who's got every chance as well. Linwood, there's that many. I'm just looking up and down now. I can't find Linwood Gold. Yeah, which was the Trends pick, and another horse that looks pretty well handicapped. Coltrane's in there as well with Sheen Murphy on. Just a bit worried about the record of 3-year-olds in the race, but I'm not sure that many have tried. But that's obviously a talented horse as well. As I say, I could be here all day, but I think Mondain looks a fair price to hit the frame.
Mondain for Mark Johnson and Andrea Azzani under a £4 penalty there for Steve. Chad, what about you?
Yeah, just on that, Steve, we've seen some each-way support in the last 48 hours for Mondain as well, so definitely some market support there. Let's look at the top. Coltrane, he's done a lot of racing, hasn't he? He made his debut on the 21st of June, and he looked like he was going to be need this kind of test, this kind of distance when he was beaten first time up. He's then won impressively 3 starts, and he was the most impressive in the Melrose last time out. It's always a competitive race. Gets a good weight for age allowance, but you do just have to question a 3-year-old on his 6th start of the season within 4 months, drawn 34. He's got it all to do. I think I think the odds are against him, so to speak. Great White Shark, last year's winning trainer, or last 2 years winning trainer, Willie Mullins. Books last year's winning rider, Jason Watson. She bolted up in the Guinness hurdle, didn't she? As you said, Steve. And she was 10th in the race last year. It's been the plan since that day. Since she finished 10th, Willie's got a plan for her to finish 9 places in front. That's been the plan ever since. It's obvious. Leon Cavallo's been really well supported, and I quite like this horse as well. I think he's been put away for the race since he bolted up in soft ground at Haydock. His dad won it twice. Martin won it in 2000 and 2002. David's yet to win it, but it is a National Hunt Trainers kind of race, isn't it? And just a bit further down, I think the Andrew Balding trained Diocletian will give young William Clocks a good spin. He's a bit of an enigma, the horse. Andrew says that himself in the Betway Insider blog, that he's just, if he wants to do it, he'll do it, but he just doesn't know if the nature of the race will suit him. But he stays well, he travels well, and he likes soft ground. So at a price, he's there. But you could pick, as you say, any of the Gavin Cromwells, the Jesse's horse, Linwood Gold, and Vis-a-Vis could run a big price, could run well at a big price too.
There you go. A summary indeed. I mean, it's funny you mentioned Gavin Cromwell, actually, because I fancy his Levée de Soleil, because the last time he was seen in England, he won 4 on the spin on the flat and hasn't quite performed since over fences and hurdles in Ireland, but definitely has plenty more to come for me off the mark of 82. And Gavin Cromwell is a very shrewd trainer, so I can see him going well at about 40-1. And what a story it would be if Heather Main could land it with Island Brave and Martin Dwyer. That would be quite something if she could do the business. But for me, Levée de Soleil is the one at around about 40-1 in the Cesarewitch, but plenty there. As always, we've got big chances. Now, finally, we're going to switch across codes and switch across countries to go to Wales and to Chepstow, where the Silver Trophy is pretty much the starting marker for the jump season as a proper season to get going, isn't it? It's the big handicap hurdle that, most of the good hurdlers who like to run at this time of year do run in. So there's plenty in there to look forward to this year, as always. We've got some big trainers represented, both at West for Colin Tizard, Flash the Steel for Dan Skelton, Calondra for Neil Holland, Paul Nichols has got Psycho and St. Sonnet in there, Fixed Sun for Nicky Henderson, even Sam Thomas has got a run of Marie de Pie, and Notre Paris for Ollie Murphy. Tom Lacey's interesting run for T Clipper too. Steve, what do you fancy in this?
Yeah, it's a really interesting race. I mean, I think Weatherby will be on the phone to you saying this is the start of the jump season. The Charlie Hall chase, Tom. Come on, get it right. Yeah, no, this is a fascinating race, isn't it? I mean, last year's winner, Flash the Steel, must have every chance. £8 higher, came back from a long break to win this last year. Just had the 2 runs since and was really good. It was 9th in the Martin Pipe, but it was much better run than 9th suggests. So I think off £8 higher on similar ground, in a similar standard race, you would expect that one to run well. St. Sonnet's very interesting, isn't it? Just had a couple of runs for Paul Nichols and they were over fences, including at Cheltenham. I wonder if this is a prep to go back over fences or it's one of those where you think this one's more of a hurdler. As a listed hurdle win in France, obviously got top weight, which is probably not ideal, but definitely not ideal. Both at West, I thought, didn't have to get out of first gear when winning here in January. Another one who's got an awful lot more to offer. And going through the season, I always keep an eye on Nicky Henderson horses first run after a wind up. They have a better than a third of them win, and that you make big profits backing them. I mean, most of them would run an easier races than this. So although Fixed Sun, the form doesn't look fantastic so far and didn't show the bit in France, I think he'll improve plenty, and it's just the point of the season to keep an eye on the Henderson horses after a wind up. But I think I'll be having Flash to Steel and Both at West as my little interest in the race.
Lovely stuff. Very interesting point what you said about Nicky Henderson's wind up there. I'm sure that's a record to keep an eye on, as you say. Yeah. And Chad, what about you?
I've got the first and second in this. So whilst I might not have given you the winner of the Dewhurst, I certainly think I'm going to give you the winner and the second of this race. I don't know in which order though. Let me stipulate that, a caveat with that. I think Both for West has always been really well thought of. Had wind surgery and came up, and as you said, didn't get out of first gear here in January. Came up 3 weeks later at Fontwell, sluiced up, and they were waiting, I believe, for a handicap hurdle at Aintree, which never happened, obviously. And they do tend to target this race, don't they? I think the fact that Robbie Powers moved over to England suggests seriously that he thinks he's going to have plenty of winners. Obviously, Puppy's a fantastic rider. He's not at the early stage of his career, is he? And I certainly think that getting winners and getting money on the board is going to be key to him. And I certainly don't think it was, I'm going to move over to England now because we might have some nice horses for Cheltenham. I think he's going to have winners early on. I really do think he's got the team have got them forward. So I think Beaufort West will finish in the first 1 or 2, as do I think Hometown Boy for Stuart Edmonds. This horse has been overlooked. I think trained by someone different would be half the price. He's a really smart horse. He'll go on ground. He's been placed on good ground, and he's been placed on good to soft and soft. So it doesn't matter. He ran really well. in the Grade 3, that McFabulous one at Kempton. That was a bit quick for him, but still ran really well. And before that, he was second to McFabulous. McFabulous is being touted as a potential stayers hurdle horse. I just think this is he's at the right end of the handicap, and this is the kind of horse that will be winning this race.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Chad, for that. I'm going to have a little bit on T Clipper, I think, for Tom Lacey. I think this horse is possibly still well handicapped of 134, but I would look out for Fixed Sun. Well, I think he's also well handicapped of 137 if producing his potential, which I don't think he has yet. I mean, obviously, if he looks like he did when he got beaten at Fakenham when last seen, then he's not going to win this, but he can still be well handicapped if I think he's as good as he probably ought to be. Guys, thank you very much indeed. Some really good stuff there. And I have to say, what an electric week of racing it is. It really is class, both at Newmarket and at Chepstow and at York as well. Of course, you've got likes of Logician running this weekend, on Friday, actually. Very good. And hopefully some winners in there too. And we'll see you guys, hopefully, very soon.
Love it.